And welcome to Kinbrace, one of the more lightly used stations on the Far North Line from Inverness to Wick and Thurso. And I'm here hoping to catch a train to Altnabreac, which is another one of the lightly used stations on the Far North Line, so enjoy my film. The line to the far north first reached Helmsdale in 1870 and it was extended to Kinbrace in 1874 when the station opened. The station boasts, if that's the right word, a waiting shelter with a request stop machine which includes the train departure information, and like at other stations on this line which are request stops, you can press the button within 20 minutes of the arrival time of the train, but you can also raise your hand to stop the train, and I'm aiming to catch the 10:09 to Wick. There was another platform. There was a passing loop here which was removed in 1966. There were also two signal boxes here, and there you can see the remains of the signal box, which I suspect might have been moved to that location. And the rack you can see in the distance was used for loading the carcasses of deer onto trains during the stalking season, which normally starts on the 12th of August each year. And there's a close-up view of the chutes using for deer carcasses onto the trains, and the signal box and the station. And that's the old station house, which I believe is a private residence, the old signal box behind it. And the ScotRail man has arrived to do some maintenance work. He was cleaning the shelter at Kildonham when I drove past half an hour ago. You may wonder why the route to the far north took the detour inland north of Helmsdale. There were two reasons. Firstly, the coast north of Helmsdale has a lot of cliffs and ravines, making a route difficult. Secondly, after the clearances, enlightened landowners such as the Duke of Sutherland wanted to open up the interior of the Highlands. Here comes the Inverness train. Now, I haven't pressed the plunger, so the driver shouldn't stop unless somebody wishes to alight. I'll stand well back so as not to confuse him. Weighing scales are still on the platform. Possibly too rusted in to move, I don't know. Yeah, another shot of the weighing scales. And here comes the train, now passing the deer carcass chutes. No deer on them today. I think the driver's seen me. I put my hand out just in case. Yes, he's definitely decelerating, so the system works. Thank you, ScotRail. Lovely scenery, hey. This is Altnabreac. And there goes the train to Wick. The pride and joy of Altnabreac station has to be the water tower, which is at the north end of the northbound platform. And of course the northbound platform no longer has a track, it being removed in 1966, which is when the two signal boxes were removed. Hello, chicken. And there's the other side of the water tower. The station has a rather antiquated wooden shelter and a cycle rack. I'm not sure who would cycle here to use the cycle rack. That's the help point, which is as dead as a dodo, and that information tells you that there's no announcing system at the station. This must be one of the smallest waiting shelters in Great Britain, but the help point that doesn't work. There's a little window so you can see the approach of northbound trains. It is operated by the sun, solar panel. There's no obvious road access to the station because there's a cattle grid with a chain across it and a sign telling you not to park there. But you can walk around the right hand side. And that's the track that leads up to the station, and you see there's a track that goes that way, and I'm going to go down here and explore where this goes. I don't often take pictures of me walking because people don't like camera shake, but there we go. A pair of estate cottages which would make a nice home for somebody, or homes for a couple of couples, if that makes sense. If you can live without a tarmac road, mains water, or mains electricity, of course. The forest has a bit of an echo. Woo! 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 A mile or so from Altnabreac station is Loch Lodge, which is opposite Loch Black Loch, and it was built in 1895, and the construction materials were brought in by train to Altnabreac station. It has splendid views of the loch, which I'm going to walk alongside or round. If I can get round it, I'm not sure. For a time it has been a hotel, which would have been a really nice retreat, but it's just a private residence. I've decided against trying to walk around the loch because it's very boggy and possibly infested with ticks, and I don't want to get ticks or Lyme disease. So I'm just going to sit here under the shade of a tree because it's very hot, even though it's the 8th of September, and have a sandwich. This is just south of Altnabreac station. These were in fact gravel sidings and latterly permanent way sidings. And just to confirm that I wasn't trespassing to take that film. In the early days, trains frequently became stuck in snowdrifts, and the Highland Railway, and later the LMS, installed these timber uprights or timber fences made out of old sleepers to try to mitigate against the effects of snowdrifts, although they have been poorly maintained in recent years. They're quite common north of Helmsdale. And there's the line looking south towards Forcinard and Helmsdale, and you will see how open the country is. Snowdrifts being very common before climate change set in. On one occasion the passengers eventually abandoned the train and walked all the way to Scots Calder, which a lot of people wouldn't manage to do these days. Much of the Highland Railway network was single track, so they had a policy of running longer trains less frequently to minimise the disruption caused by late running, which is why some of these lightly used stations had long platforms and 2 signal boxes. 2 signal boxes because the Board of Trade set a maximum distance between the signal box and points and signals. And there's another view of Altnabreac station in the distance, showing the goods yard and the gravel sidings. One of the chickens on Altnabreac station has come to examine me and my bag. Maybe she thinks I've got some food. Hey, what do you think? Food? Any food there? So if you use Altnabreac station, be prepared for chickens walking around. The station has about 200 passengers per year, which has been a decline in recent years, and I've just met 2 of them, the occupants of the station house, who told me that they do use the station, which is nice. I don't think their chickens do though. This is a request stop without a plunge system, so I've just put my arm out and hopefully the driver will see me and stop the train. I detect a deceleration going on. Yes, he is stopping. "400 passengers a year approximately at Kinbrace." And this is a timber stacking area just south of Kinbrace station, although I'm not aware of any movements of timber traffic that goes by rail. And if you enjoy my films and would like to reward me with a coffee, please see the link here to Ko-fi. Thank you very much.